So, Nintendo just dropped their latest financial report, and wow, the numbers inside tell an absolutely incredible story. Today, we're going to dive right in and unpack the data behind one of the biggest events in gaming, the launch of the next-generation Switch.
Okay, let's start with the big one. 3.5 million. Seriously, if you only remember one number from this whole report, make it this one. It's the headline, it sets the stage for everything. So, what exactly is it? That's 3.5 million Switch 2 consoles sold directly to gamers in just the first 4 days. Think about that. This isn't just, a strong start. It's a massive signal that Nintendo might have actually done it. They might have captured lightning in a bottle for the second time in a row.
All right, so let's get into our first section here, a record-breaking debut. To really get why that 3.5 million figure is just so impressive, we need to talk about a key business term Nintendo uses. It's how they measure what real demand looks like.
And that term is sell-through. Now, the distinction here is absolutely crucial. This isn't about how many boxes Nintendo shipped to fill up warehouses at retailers. Nope, this is the number of units that actually went home with customers. It's the purest measure of that raw day-one hype.
And look, here it is, a direct quote from their investor report, the highest ever for a Nintendo game-dedicated machine in its first 4 days. I mean, that confirms it right there. The Switch 2 launch wasn't just bigger than the original Switch, it was the biggest hardware debut in the company's entire long history. Wow. Okay, on to our second section, the Switch 2 financials. A historic launch is one thing, right? But how does that actually translate to the company's bottom line? This is where things get really interesting, where we see how one single product launch can completely reshape a company's performance. And the impact was, well, it was immediate. Just look at this. On the left, you see their sales from this time last year, 247 billion yen. Now, look at the right, the quarter with the Switch 2 launch, 572 billion yen. I mean, you don't need to be an accountant to see that this is explosive, truly transformative growth.
Let's put a percentage on that. That's a 132% increase in sales year over year. I mean, let's just let that sink in for a second. A single product launch more than doubled the company's total revenue. That is the power of a hit console.
So where did all that growth actually come from? Well, the hardware sales mix tells the whole story of this transition to power. In the full quarter, the brand new Switch 2 sold a staggering 5.82 million units. Meanwhile, the original Switch, it sold just under 1 million. The torch has officially and very decisively been passed. This success was really built on a few key things all working together perfectly. First, you have the massive 5.82 million hardware sales. That was fueled by the absolute system seller of a launch title, Mario Kart World, which moved nearly 1 copy for every single console sold. And crucially, backwards compatibility kept the entire old library of Switch games valuable and selling. And what does that all lead to? It all funnels down to a really healthy 18.6% jump in net profit. All right, moving on to Section 3. Not all numbers went up. Because, of course, in any major business shift like this one, it's never the case that every single metric is pointing up. So for the full picture, it's really important we understand the nuances here.
So the question is, was it a completely flawless victory? Well, the report does show a couple of areas that dipped. But here, the context is absolutely everything.
Okay, so digital sales dropped by about 13.5%, and that makes total sense, right? People are buying fewer games for their old Switch as they get ready for the new one. And then you have IP income, which includes stuff like movies. That dipped a little bit too, but only because last year's numbers were kind of inflated by a massive blockbuster film release.
And that brings us to the crucial point. These dips are not red flags at all. They're the predictable, totally logical side effects of moving from one generation to the next. The core business, selling new consoles and new games, is absolutely on fire. Which brings us to Section 4, the next wave of games. I mean, a great launch is one thing, but momentum. Momentum is everything in this industry.
So what does Nintendo have planned to keep this new platform exciting for everyone?
Well, the pipeline is already looking really strong. The report highlights a nice, steady drumbeat of releases coming up. You've got Donkey Kong Bonanza dropping in July, then a brand new IP called Drag Strive in August, and then the big one for the holiday season, Pokémon Legends ZA in October. They're even doing a special hardware bundle for that one. They are not messing around.
And this all feeds right into Nintendo's classic, incredibly effective playbook, which they lay out right in the report. Step 1, keep launching new titles to show off what the hardware can do. Step 2, maintain the buzz for the big launch games like Mario Kart World. And Step 3, leverage that growing install base to just sell as many games as humanly possible. Simple, but effective.
And that brings us to our final section, Nintendo's new era. When you put all these numbers together, the launch, the financials, the future games, what does it all really mean? In short, this financial report, it signals the successful start of a whole new chapter for Nintendo.
And hey, if you want one last little piece of evidence of the confidence inside the company, another filing shows they awarded nearly 150 million yen worth of stock to their top directors and executives. It's a pretty clear sign that the leadership team is being rewarded for navigating this incredibly tricky transition so well.
So here's the bottom line. A console transition is one of the riskiest, most nail-biting moves a company can make in the gaming world. And Nintendo, well, they appear to have absolutely nailed it. They've successfully passed the torch, securing their position at the top for the next several years.
The launch was, without a doubt, a home run. But it raises the next billion-dollar question. The original Switch delivered an unbelievable 7-year run of hit after hit. Can Nintendo repeat that same magic? The clock starts now.